For years, Robyn Brown has looked straight into the TLC cameras, desperately wiping away dry tears, trying to convince the world that Meri Brown was her absolute best friend. She played the loyal sister wife, the only woman in the family who truly understood Meri's loneliness and isolation. But behind the scenes of Sister Wives, a completely different, infinitely darker story was unfolding. Insider reports and exclusive theories are now exposing the absolute most sickening betrayal in the history of the Brown family. It involves the one thing Meri values more than Kody, more than the Coyote Pass land, and more than the illusion of plural marriage. Her only child, Leon. What Robyn and Kody allegedly said about Leon's transition behind closed doors has finally shattered the last remaining pillar of this fractured family. Welcome back to the SU Daily. If you are as shocked by this two-faced manipulation as we are, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the Brown family fallout. To truly understand the magnitude of this betrayal, we have to look back at the foundation of Meri and Robyn's entire relationship. It was the ultimate self-own on Robyn's part. From the very moment Robyn entered the family, she weaponized Meri's vulnerabilities. Meri was the one who introduced Robyn to Kody. Meri was the one who legally divorced Kody so he could marry Robyn and adopt her children. For over a decade, Robyn spent countless hours on the infamous Sister Wives couch, crying her signature tearless sobs, insisting that she and Meri shared a sacred, unbreakable bond. Robyn wanted the audience, and more importantly, Meri, to believe that they were a united front against the chaos of the other wives. Robyn knew that Meri was desperate for connection, desperate for Kody's scraps, and desperate to feel like a valued member of the family she helped build. By positioning herself as Meri's only ally, Robyn guaranteed that Meri would never speak out against her. It was a masterclass in manipulation. Robyn thought she had Meri entirely under her control, assuming that Meri's deep-seated loyalty to the family structure would blind her to any abuse. But Robyn made one fatal miscalculation. She underestimated the fierce, unconditional, and uncompromising love that Meri has for her only child, Leon. The trap was set perfectly, and the contradiction is absolutely staggering. Behind closed doors, Robyn and Kody have increasingly leaned into a hyper-conservative, patriarchal, and righteous lifestyle. We have all seen Kody's descent into the manosphere, spouting rhetoric about respect, loyalty, and traditional gender roles. Robyn, playing the role of the submissive, obedient wife, caters directly to Kody's fragile ego, agreeing with his every outdated viewpoint to secure her spot as the favorite. But they both have a massive problem, and that problem is TLC. They know that their reality TV paychecks depend on them maintaining a certain level of public decency. When Leon publicly transitioned, it created a massive public relations nightmare for Robyn and Kody's carefully crafted traditional narrative. Suddenly, they were faced with a dilemma. For the cameras, they had to have a supportive, open-minded stance. They had to nod along, smile, and pretend that they were a progressive, modern, plural family that embraced Leon with open arms. They knew that openly rejecting Leon on television would result in instant backlash, potential boycotts, and a catastrophic loss of viewers and sponsors. It was a complete PR trap. They were forced to perform an elaborate charade, pretending to be allies while secretly seething at the perceived disruption to their conservative utopia. This created the ultimate credibility dilemma, a double bind that Robyn arrogantly thought she could navigate without getting caught. On one hand, you have Meri. Say what you want about Meri's past mistakes or her lingering devotion to a dead marriage, but when it comes to Leon, Meri is fiercely protective. Her journey to understanding and fully embracing Leon's truth has been one of the most genuine arcs on the entire show. Meri didn't just tolerate her child's transition. She actively educated herself, stood by Leon's side, and fiercely celebrated their identity. Leon is Meri's entire world. On the other hand, you have Robyn, who firmly believed she could play both sides of the fence forever. According to exclusive theories and whispers from within the inner circle, Robyn was doing exactly what she does best, whispering poison in Kody's ear. Behind the safety of the McMansion's closed doors, Robyn allegedly aligned herself completely with Kody's conservative outrage. It is widely speculated that Robyn validated Kody's confusion and anger, trash-talking Leon's transition to soothe Kody's patriarchal ego. She fed into his narrative that the family was losing its moral compass, all while turning around and texting Meri sweet, supportive messages about how much she loved Leon. Robyn thought she was untouchable. She thought she could be the traditional righteous wife for Kody in private, and the supportive, loving sister wife for the TLC cameras in public. But the stakes were escalating far beyond what Robyn could control. This wasn't just a disagreement about how to divide up the lots on Coyote Pass, or a petty squabble about quarantine rules. This was about a human being's identity. Leon's transition is deeply personal, but because of the nature of their reality television fame, it is also highly publicized. Every single interaction is analyzed by millions of viewers. The financial and professional stakes for Robyn and Kody were astronomical. If their true feelings were ever exposed, if the audience ever found out that they were harboring toxic, prejudiced views behind the scenes, their reality TV empire would collapse overnight. And more dangerously for Robyn, if Meri ever discovered that the McMansion was not a safe space for her child, the absolute last pillar of the sister wives alliance would crumble into dust. Meri was the only original wife who still gave Robyn the time of day. Christine was gone. Janelle had checked out. Meri was Robyn's final lifeline to the premise of the show. Without Meri, Robyn is just a monogamous wife living on a hoarder's island with a bitter, angry man. Robyn desperately needed to keep Meri in the dark. She needed to keep Meri believing in the illusion of their best friendship to secure their spot on the TLC roster. But reality television is a house of cards, and secrets of this magnitude never stay buried forever. The pressure was mounting. Kody was becoming increasingly unhinged, his rants about loyalty and obedience growing louder and more frequent. Robyn's older children, who have been heavily sheltered and molded in Kody and Robyn's exact image, were allegedly becoming bold in their own private criticisms. The McMansion was an echo chamber of judgment, a toxic environment where Meri and Leon were secretly the subjects of cruel mockery. Robyn felt entirely safe in her bubble, assuming that the walls of her home would keep her two-faced manipulation a secret forever. She assumed that Meri, who had endured years of public humiliation and emotional neglect from Kody, would simply swallow any disrespect just to remain in the family's orbit. Robyn completely misunderstood the core of who Meri is as a mother. She mistook Meri's patience for weakness, and that massive, arrogant miscalculation was about to set off a chain reaction that would destroy the Brown family forever, leading to a massive leak that would expose the exact devastating words spoken when the cameras stopped rolling. The knockout blow did not come from a public TLC tell-all couch, nor did it happen on the dusty, barren soil of Coyote Pass. According to insider reports and explosive exclusive theories currently rocking the Sister Wives community, the truth came out through a massive, undeniable leak from deep within Robyn and Kody's intensely guarded inner circle. Rumors strongly suggest that a digital trail, perhaps a leaked text exchange, a rogue group chat screenshot, or a conversation overheard and relayed by a deeply disturbed family insider, finally made its way directly to Meri. And what this alleged leak contained was so vile, so entirely contradictory to the sweet, supportive facade Robyn wore for the cameras, that it instantly turned Meri's blood to ice. The reports claim that behind the locked doors of the $1 million Flagstaff McMansion, Robyn, Kody, and allegedly even Robyn's intensely sheltered older daughters were caught engaging in cruel, deeply transphobic, and highly derogatory mockery of Leon and their partner, Audrey. The exclusive theories indicate that these were not just passing remarks. They were not innocent moments of confusion from a traditional family trying to slowly understand a changing world. No, these reports paint a sickening picture of a vicious echo chamber where Leon's identity, their transition, and their relationship were actively trashed, ridiculed, and invalidated for absolute sport. Meri didn't just hear a vague summary of this betrayal. The theory suggests she found out the exact specific words that were spoken behind her back. Imagine being Meri Brown in that exact moment. For over a decade, you have funded this woman's lavish lifestyle. You legally divorced your husband of over 20 years, stripping yourself of your legal protection, just so this woman could legally bind herself to him and bring her children into the fold. You sat completely alone in massive empty rental houses in Flagstaff during a global pandemic, strictly following every single one of Kody and Robyn's draconian oppressive quarantine rules, just praying for a 5-minute socially distanced visit from the family you helped build. You did all of this because you truly believed that at the absolute end of the day, Robyn was your best friend and that she loved your child as her own. And then, in one shattering, earth-stopping moment, you read or hear the undeniable proof that the woman you sacrificed your entire life for views your only child with absolute disgust. The level of betrayal is almost unfathomable. It is the ultimate knife to the kidneys, but this time the blade was held firmly and deliberately in Robyn's hands. This devastating leak exposes a massive behavioral flaw in Robyn Brown's character, a deeply ingrained arrogance born from years of unchecked manipulation and absolute power within the family dynamic. Robyn's two-faced manipulation finally hit a solid brick wall because she made the ultimate narcissistic miscalculation. She assumed that Meri was completely and utterly broken. Robyn looked at Meri and saw a woman so starved for affection, so deeply desperate for Kody's leftover scraps of attention, that she would tolerate absolutely anything just to keep her meager seat at the family table. Robyn had spent years watching Kody emotionally abuse Meri, berate her on national television, and tell her to move to the bed and breakfast full-time because he didn't even consider himself married to her anymore. And through all of that public humiliation and heartbreak, Meri stayed. Because Meri stayed through Kody's blatant abuse, Robyn arrogantly concluded that Meri had zero self-respect left. She thought Meri was a guaranteed permanent fixture of blind loyalty who would never dare bite the hand that occasionally tossed her a crumb of sister-wife camaraderie. But Robyn fundamentally, entirely underestimated the ferocious primal power of a mother's love. Meri might have allowed Kody to disrespect her as a wife, but she would never, under any circumstances in the universe, allow anyone to disrespect Leon. Leon is Meri's crowning achievement, the absolute center of her universe, and the one pure, beautiful thing she brought into this chaotic family. By targeting Leon, Robyn crossed a sacred, unforgivable boundary, instantly awakening a version of Meri that Robyn had never seen before, a fiercely protective mother bear who suddenly had absolutely nothing left to lose and no more reasons to play nice. When the explosive confrontation finally happened, the insider reports suggest it was a total masterclass in narcissistic backpedaling. Meri did not approach Robyn with tears, apologies, or a pathetic desire to fix the relationship. She approached her with the cold, hard, undeniable facts of what had been said. And how did Robyn allegedly react? Exactly the way she has reacted to every single conflict for the past 14 years on television. She instantly deployed her ultimate weapon, the signature tearless sobs. Robyn's face crumpled, her hands went to her dry eyes, and the crying immediately began. The exclusive theories claim that Robyn frantically tried to spin the narrative, desperately trying to save her greatest manipulation from going up in flames. She allegedly claimed that her words were being completely misunderstood, taken wildly out of context by whoever maliciously leaked the information to tear their sisterhood apart. When that transparent lie didn't work, she reportedly tried to hide behind the thick shield of religion and conservatism, sobbing that she and Kody simply hold traditional values, that they were just deeply concerned about Leon's eternal soul, and that it was a private, safe space conversation that was never meant to hurt anyone's feelings. She tried to make herself the victim of a betrayal of privacy, rather than owning up to the sheer cruelty of her own spoken words. She begged Meri to remember their sisterhood, to remember the sacred bond they had promised to uphold on that porch all those years ago. But this time, the magic trick completely failed. Meri didn't blink. The tears that used to manipulate Meri into total compliance now just looked like pathetic, desperate drops of guilt. For the first time in over a decade, Meri looked at Robyn and saw right through the perpetual victim act. She didn't see a sweet, misunderstood sister wife struggling with modern concepts. She saw the monster behind the mask. She saw a calculated, cruel, and deeply insecure woman who used the soft language of love and therapy to disguise a heart full of bitter judgment. The emotional appeal crashed and burned spectacularly because authenticity cannot be when a furious mother is staring down the exact person who mocked her child. The absolute sickest part of this entire situation, the core moral hypocrisy that makes this betrayal so incredibly hard for viewers to stomach, is the glaring double standard Robyn has strictly enforced since day one. Let us not forget exactly who Robyn Brown is and what she demanded from the Brown family the minute she stepped onto the screen. When Robyn entered the family, she brought 3 children from a previous marriage. She demanded with endless tears and silent ultimatums that the entire family, all the other established wives, and all the original 13 children unconditionally accept and coddle her kids from the very first second they met. If a single teenager looked sideways at Dayton, Aurora, or Brianna, or if they didn't immediately share their toys in time, Robyn would dissolve into hysterics, accusing the entire family of not being a safe space and claiming her children were being bullied. She systematically forced Kody to adopt them, effectively erasing their biological father from their family portrait, and demanded they be treated as though they were born of Kody's own blood. She demanded unconditional love, relentless patience, and perfect, unquestioning acceptance for her own offspring. Yet, the exact same woman who intensely policed the family's every interaction to ensure her children were never once marginalized or made to feel different was now allegedly caught viciously judging, ostracizing, and mocking Meri's only child. The hypocrisy is so thick and so toxic you could cut it with a knife. Robyn expected the entire world to bend and break to accommodate her children's emotional needs, but when Leon bravely stepped into their authentic truth, facing the world with vulnerability, Robyn could not muster even a microscopic fraction of that same acceptance. Instead of embracing Leon the way Meri had warmly embraced and funded Robyn's children, Robyn allegedly chose to tear them down to score cheap points with Kody's inflated patriarchal ego. It is a staggering, breathtaking display of selfishness that completely invalidates every single tear Robyn ever shed about family unity. She never actually wanted a united, equal, plural family. She only ever wanted a family that served her and shielded her children, while everyone else's children were treated as disposable targets for her behind closed doors ridicule. The digital fallout was instantaneous and brutal, serving as a cold reality check that Robyn Brown never saw coming. According to exclusive theories circulating throughout the Sister Wives fandom, Meri didn't just walk away from the conversation, she executed a total digital and physical scorched earth policy. In the modern world of reality television, the ultimate sign of a dead relationship isn't a legal filing. It is the silent public act of hitting the unfollow button. Insider reports suggest that as soon as the truth about those derogatory comments reached her, Meri instantly cut all ties on social media. She didn't just stop liking Robyn's posts, she completely removed her from her virtual life. This was the final definitive door slam. For years, Robyn had used Meri as her buffer, her only link to the original family, and her primary defense against the accusations that she had destroyed the plural marriage. By losing Meri, Robyn didn't just lose a friend, she lost her last remaining shred of credibility within the family structure. The digital wall went up and the physical door at the McMansion was permanently locked to Meri, but this time it was by Meri's own choice. The isolation was immediate. Without Meri to film with, without Meri to talk to, and without Meri to validate her constant victimhood, Robyn was suddenly forced to confront the terrifying reality of her own making. She and Kody are now trapped in a vacuum of their own judgment and bitterness. The reality check is that there is no one left to manipulate. There are no more sister wives to triangulate, no more children's loyalties to test, and no more friends to use as shields. Robyn Brown, the woman who claimed she wanted sisterhood more than anything else in the world, is now the only wife left standing in a wreckage she helped create. The point of no return has finally been reached, and the conclusion to this decades-long saga is as tragic as it is inevitable. Meri Brown has made the most important, life-altering choice of her entire existence. She chose Leon over the toxic, suffocating illusion of Coyote Pass. For years, we watched Meri cling to the hope that Kody would love her again, that Robyn would be her true sister, and that the family would somehow find its way back to a place of unity. She spent a decade living in the shadows of the McMansion, waiting for a dinner invitation that rarely came. But the discovery of those sickening comments about Leon acted as a massive wake-up call that shattered the glass once and for all. Meri realized that the best friendship she had cherished was nothing more than a hollow, manipulative tool used to keep her compliant and financially contributing to the family pot. She saw that she was being asked to sacrifice her child's dignity for the sake of a man who didn't want her and a woman who secretly mocked her. The best friendship is dead, buried under the weight of 1,000 lies and a mountain of hypocrisy. Meri has officially walked away from the hoarder's island of Kody and Robyn's isolated world, choosing to spend her life where she is actually wanted and where her child is respected. This leaves Robyn and Kody in a state of absolute self-inflicted exile. They are now two people living in a massive, cluttered home, surrounded by expensive things and hollow promises, with absolutely no one left to blame for their misery but each other. The toxic illusion of Coyote Pass, the dream of a grand family estate where they would all grow old together, has turned into a desolate, empty monument to their own greed and prejudice. Kody has lost his wives, his children, and his legacy. Robyn has lost her audience, her allies, and her reputation as the family peacemaker. They are isolated on their own private island of bitterness, forced to live with the consequences of choosing hate and manipulation over the very family values they claim to uphold. The last pillar of the Sister Wives Alliance has crumbled into dust, and in the end, it wasn't the other wives who brought the house down. It was Robyn's own inability to love unconditionally. Meri is finally free, finding peace and purpose in the real world with Leon, while Robyn and Kody are left behind, staring at the empty lots of a dream that died the moment they chose to speak cruelty in the dark. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the absolute collapse of the Brown family alliance here on the SW Daily. This story is a powerful reminder that at the end of the day, a mother's love will always outweigh the toxic demands of a failing tradition. If you found this update as compelling as we did, don't forget to give this video a massive thumbs up and share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Meri made the right choice by cutting Robyn off forever? We want to hear from you. Make sure you are subscribed to the SW Daily and have those notifications turned on so you are the first to know when more insider reports and exclusive theories drop. We are your #1 source for everything Sister Wives, and we will be right here with you as this family's final chapter continues to unfold. See you in the next video.